Good morning. Happy Monday. For another Monday Mindset. Give it a second here for people to join on. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. I came back from Phoenix on Saturday. I was actually out speaking at a real estate conference. And today I figured I'd share with you just a couple things, my big takeaways from this conference. I was speaking to a group called Next Home. Next Home Real Estate is, one of, if not the fastest growing real estate franchises in the country. I think they have like 6,000 agents under them now, 600 offices. So they are just blowing up. Let me pull up and make sure you guys actually have sound here, because I don't want to talk the whole time and you not have sound, but I think you do. I just a couple takeaways from being at this conference and being able to speak to them. Yep, we're good. Lily, good morning. Kat, good morning. Good to see you. Bummed I can't make it to your conference, so thank you for letting me know about that. But definitely keep me in the loop for next year, Kat, because I would love to come and join you guys there at your conference. So I'm speaking the next time. First thing that happened to me that I thought was amazing, and just reminded me for myself at Reminder Media and what I do with clients. How do I go the extra mile? So I get into Phoenix late. I forget what night it was, but I get into Phoenix late. I'm starving, right? I'm just like, oh gosh, I haven't eaten, been on that flight. And I get to my hotel room, and Next Home had ordered me like this fruit tray in my room, and this like cookies and water and all this stuff for when I got to my hotel room. Didn't expect it. Never have experienced that before. No one's ever done that for me before. And they also had a card for me thanking me for being a speaker at this event. And I thought to myself, man, this is how, one, you create a culture, and two, how you create raving fans. And it's not about the fruit or the cookies or anything like that. It's about doing the unexpected. Like really, truly creating a raving fan is about doing the unexpected. Is how do you show up where people least expect you to show up, and how do you do above and beyond what they expect you to do? And Chick-fil-A is my greatest example of this. They just do the unexpected every turn, right? In the restaurants, clean. Fast food restaurants usually aren't clean. Service is good. The people are kind most of the time, 99% of the time. You don't expect that from fast food. The drive-through lines are fast. You don't expect that from fast food. And the food is actually good, which you don't normally expect that for fast food. So you just think about, like, why is Chick-fil-A winning and they are only open 6 days a week out of a normal restaurant opening up 7? It's so obvious when you step back. You go, oh man, they just over deliver. They just do the unexpected. Where everybody else is average, they're doing things that are not crazy. Not one of those things is insane. Being nice at your cash register is not insane, but they're able to make that happen. And they do that because they pay attention to the details. My mother-in-law used to work for a guy named Kluge. Kluge used to be the richest person in the world. And this was way back, 30 years ago or something like that. She was like a project manager for him, but she got to interact with him. And she said it was so interesting because when Kluge would go through like the invoicing, he would always just skip over the big transactions, the $10,000 plus transactions. He wouldn't ask any questions about them. Like, he'd just overview them. But the dollar transactions, the $5 transactions, he would just grill you on. What was this $5 charge for? And, she wondered, why aren't you paying attention to the $25,000 charge, but you care about the $5? It's just $5. And the lesson that he told her was, if you count the pennies, the dollars will count themselves. And I remember listening to the CEO of Home Depot talk about leadership and how the greatest leaders, they don't pay attention to the big hands of the clock. They actually pay attention to the fine-tuned gear in the clock. They go down to the minute detail to make sure that minute detail, that fine-tuned gear is functioning the way you expect it to function. Because if you can focus on the details, then the big hands will take care of themselves. And I have found that to be true in just running my business and running Reminder Media. It's like, man, the details matter. You win or lose in the details. And so I would just challenge you. First thing is, how are you doing the unexpected for your clients? How are you doing the unexpected for your team members? Man, make it personal. If you have no team members and maybe you're just getting started, you have no clients. I hope you guys have clients, but if you have no clients, how are you doing the unexpected for your relationships? When was the last time you did something unexpected for your husband or wife, significant other, for your friend? That you did unexpected, that they weren't expecting you to do this nice thing for them, and you just went out of your way to do it. And I promise you, if you get good at doing that, man, you are going to create such a culture around you that people are just going to gravitate towards you, that they're just going to want to be with you. And then the second takeaway is like, are you paying attention to the details? Because it's in the details that you're able to thrive and do the unexpected. And this leads me to a third takeaway in essence, which really is the second takeaway about details. But I got the chance. I can't say what it is, but I'm looking to acquire a business out in Phoenix, Arizona, and they serve the country. It's going to be an awesome product if I can make the deal happen, but it's I can't talk about it yet. But I'll share with you guys as soon as if the deal goes through or not. But I'm looking to buy this business, and the guy who owns this business was a past NFL player. And it was so crazy. I was able to grab dinner with him. I spent all day with him going through his business and stuff like that. And I was talking to him about playing in the NFL. Hey, what was it like? What was the difference between playing in college and playing in the NFL? And he just said it's so interesting or so crazy that in college, every week you're maybe going up against 3 people that might make it to the NFL. They have that level of talent. So out of this whole team, right, tons and tons of different people you're playing against, he said the majority of them were just big, disciplined guys. So there was only, usually 3 or a handful on the team that even had the potential to make it to the NFL. He said when he made it to the NFL, the difference was that everybody was a freak of nature, an alien. Everybody was fast. Everybody worked hard. Everybody was almost like born to be in the NFL. And he just said it was a different caliber of play. It was just a different level of intensity that you had to be at. And we're sitting there at the Next Home conference, and we had a trade, like a booth at this conference. I'm speaking on stage. Our team's working the booth. And at our booth, our banner was broken when it got there, so we didn't have a banner for behind the booth. The tablecloth was wrinkled a little bit. The samples that we had were kind of old samples. We have the holidays coming up for our magazine. Shameless plug. If you're looking for a great touch point for Christmas, send out our Christmas magazine. People freaking love it. But we have our Christmas issue and Thanksgiving issue, which are some of our most popular touch points for businesses to send. We didn't have a single sample of those on the table. We're at the Next Home conference, and they're a partner of ours. We did a big partnership with them a couple months ago. We don't have Next Home samples at our table. We don't have testimonials from Next Home clients. And if you step back and in just passing, we look average. We're every booth, right? We have a tablecloth. We have samples. We have swag. We have some collateral on the table. We look like every booth. So, hey, Luke, if you want to be a $70 million company, then that's the level of play you play. But if you want to be a $100 million company, $100 million companies actually pay attention to the details. And the details are having the right sample. The details are actually having a tablecloth that's not wrinkled. The details are actually having good banners, right? The details are knowing the clients that are going to be at that conference so you can reach out to them beforehand, getting testimonials. You get my point, right? And apply this to your business. This is not about Luke Acree. This is about you and going, hey, if you want to win, you win in the details. And if you are at a certain level, you're making $100,000 a year maybe, and you want to be at $1 million a year, well, I would question to you, do you have that $1 million intensity? Because I go back again to this guy I'm talking to about buying his business, and he played in the NFL. He was great in college. He was phenomenal in high school, but he only made it a couple years in the NFL because the level of play and level of intensity rose. And it doesn't mean what he's accomplished in college isn't worth it, or what he accomplished in high school. That's great, man. If that's what you want to be, if you want like where you're at, more power to you. Everybody has definitions of success that they're after, but I would challenge you, man, that I've challenged myself. Big takeaway, and I told my team, I was just, chatting them up the whole time I'm there. And it's like, what's wrong with us? What's wrong with us? In fact, a client came up to me and showed me a picture of an email that she got from our, it's an automated email about a deadline reminder. And in the signature, it said client success, dash system user. And I literally screenshot it. I said, can I take a picture of that? And I took a picture of it, and I sent it to my C-suite team. And I'm like, what is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? If you want to make someone feel really important, that, put in your signature, system user is emailing you. I mean, those are the small little details, I'm really ranting at myself here, the small little details that make the difference between the gap that you're at and where you want to be. And so, my, challenge to myself and to my team is, hey man, if we want to go further than what we are, what got you here won't get you there. We have to raise our level of intensity, which means what? We have to raise our level of standards. We have to raise the level of what we accept. You do not get out of life what you expect. It's one of my favorite quotes. You get out of life what you accept. You do not get out of life what you accept. You get out of life what you expect. You get out of life what you accept. That is the reality of how things work. And so that was another takeaway for me. It's just, man, or just our standards. Third or fourth, you could say, takeaway, and these are just takeaways from my travels out to Phoenix, Arizona, and speaking at the Next Home Conference. I get up on stage, and we had kind of blown up this network a little bit. When I say blown it up, when we launched our partnership, our sales team, very hungry, we had 150 plus people, called on this network, and we called them, I guess a little bit too much because the people got upset, and we had dealt with some blown up managers and people that were not happy with our calls. And the reality is that you have to be willing to upset some so you can gain the traction of others. And what I mean by that is, like, great marketing, great sales is like a magnet. It repels people and attracts people. But in that, you have to be willing to deal with the consequences and push through and own what you've done. So, they made a joke when they were interviewing me on stage, because the CEO, he asked me, he said, hey man, I kind of want to make a joke out of these calls that you guys are doing, because, we had some people that are upset. And so he gets up there and goes, hey guys, this next guy's a marketing guy, blah, blah, blah. Pay attention to him. If not, his team will call you and call you and call you and call you. And when I got up there on stage, man, the audience was ice cold. Ice cold. It was one of the hardest audience to earn kind of that trust and to get them to buy in. Why? Because we had made so many calls, and it pissed some people off. But here's my takeaway. One is, I've signed up 300 plus people now in that network because we were willing to call. Because I'm willing to deal with one or two people that get upset, that might cause a little bit of frustration and ripple effect throughout the network. Because here's the thing, does anybody want phone calls? Do you want phone calls? No, you don't want phone calls. I don't want phone calls. But the reality is, I believe in my product and service so much that I'm willing to make calls, and I'm willing to look dumb or come across a little bit the wrong way, because I believe in the value that I represent. And when I got up on stage, the takeaway is, this audience is ice cold. I could shrink back in fear, which I was tempted to do. I'm tempted to be like, I apologize, all this stuff. I'm tempted to do that. Or, no, Luke, you believe the calls are worth it, and you're sorry that they're frustrated, but the frustration will pale in comparison to the value that you bring to them. And it taught me the lesson of, like, you need volume of marketing, volume of calls, but you need just as much value delivered. So I got up on that stage, and I kept pushing forward, and it kind of reminded me of my band days when I used to play, and I would ask people to clap, and nobody would start clapping to the song, right? And this, I played in a Christian music band, and we used to, kind of go up and down the East Coast. So we would play these festivals and conferences and stuff like that, churches, and you would get people to clap, and some people wouldn't join in. They wouldn't clap. They'd just be sitting there staring at you with the death stare. But if you kept asking them to clap, you would eventually get them to join in. And then before you know it, their energy changed because their physiology changed, and they started to enjoy the show. And so I kept pushing in into this talk. And by the end, I got a standing ovation. This is not to brag on me, but it's just the lesson of going, man, do not give in. If you believe in your value, push forward and actually get people to clap. Hey, clap. I told you to clap. Hey, where are you at in your business? I want to change your life. And that frustration of me calling you, hey, it got you here, didn't it? It got you here. It got you to this place right now where you can take a step forward. And I'm not speaking from a place that is unknown. I'm speaking from a place of, we've accomplished what you want to accomplish, because we have, especially in the real estate sector. My own brother and our team, we're in the top 1%. We're the top team in Virginia right now. And so I was able to share that with them, and it ended up working. So my message to you in this takeaway is going, man, stop shrinking back from your value, especially when you get the death stares. That means it's even more important. There's this acronym I go by in buyer psychology when you're reaching out to try to convince people to do business with you. It's called CARR, C-A-R-R, and it goes curiosity, annoyance, resentment, respect. They're curious when you're reaching out. Who is this person? What do they have? Why are they calling me? They get annoyed when you keep calling because they don't want to buy. They don't want to have to make a decision. Nobody wants to be sold, right? They know they have a pain point, but it's the fear of the unknown. They can't decide what they want to do. If you stop there, where 98% of salespeople stop, you prove them to be true. You fulfill what they are literally saying. which is you're annoying, you stop. That's all you were because you delivered no value. If you keep going, you think it's going to get better. It actually gets worse. Sometimes they hang up on you. Sometimes they don't buy from you for months and months and months. They keep saying no. They almost turn and it looks like resentment. Man, this person will never do business with me. And if you give up there, you still lost. But if you keep going, you'll get to the fourth phase, which is respect, where they will end up buying from you because people don't buy on your timeline. They buy on their timeline. They buy on where they're at in their movie, not in your movie, but they'll get to respect. And I have done so many deals where people have turned around and said to me, Luke, I just have to pay you a compliment. Man, your follow-up is just insane. Your follow-up's amazing. I have a lot of respect for that. I can tell you believe in what you're doing. And it was Ed Milet who said, to be a great salesman, it's not about convincing that person to believe in the product and service. It's convince them that you believe in the product and service, because people will buy based upon your belief. In a 15-minute sales pitch, 20-minute sales pitch, hour sales pitch, it's very, very hard to educate a consumer, move their emotion and their knowledge to a place of such trust that they're able to make an educated decision and buy right there. 9 times out of 10, what you're really doing is you're educating a consumer, you're moving their emotions, and you're convincing them that you believe in what you're offering, to a sense of like you believe this so much that you literally won't stop. You got to get them to use this, and you have no commission breath because it's all about the value that you actually bring to the table. So there you have it. There are my takeaways from Phoenix, Arizona, going out there and talking to a bunch of real estate agents. It was a great time. A lot of good stuff happened. And cross your fingers for me on this business. I can't share what it is, but I'm hoping I can buy this business because it will be great for Reminder Media and great for all of my clients. But just so many lessons learned. My big takeaway for myself was, Luke, if you want to get to the next level, you can't be playing like you're in high school. You're playing like you're in high school, you'll never play in the NFL. So you got to up your intensity, you got to up your standards. You don't get out of life what you expect, you get what you accept. Stop accepting mediocrity out of yourself. Model for people what it looks like to run in the NFL so they can follow with you. Let's get out there and win for us, for our clients, for our family. Let's make it happen this week. Appreciate you guys. Happy Monday.